How hyped are you for 0.3? Hyped enough that 15 days before the release, I'm sitting here stalling. The stallathon begins now, and we're all waiting on the I'm waiting on an announcement of an announcement to get a small bit of teaser that we can yap about. Positive 0.3 hype post. A positive post on Reddit? Sorry, sir. They nailed every patch after the release of 0.2. Okay, all right. I mean, we're stretching a little bit here. Okay, I want to say this. Somewhere in a comment somewhere, I don't remember if it was Reddit, if it was a YouTube comment on somebody else's video, on my video. I remember reading a comment somewhere, and the guy literally perfectly guessed, like, the entire leak. When I read it, I was like, is this f***ing guy, like, one of the devs just leaking everything? He guessed, like, the entire league almost f***ing perfectly. It is pretty funny. Good luck. You're never going to find it, dude. Are these official upcoming patch notes? Oh, my dear friend. This is Reddit speculation gone wild. Another day, stallathon continues. There is actually one announcement. I don't think this is the announcement of the announcement of the announcement, but it's something. Tencent held an announcement. Well, I don't think held's the right use of the verb there, but so apparently there's going to be a Chinese announcement. I mean, surely we all know what this means. So this is just they're getting their own server. I'm wondering how much, we're going to see the player count change because of this, because right now the Chinese players are on Steam also. So when they get their own client and all that, what percentage of players do you think were Chinese? You think 5% max, 90%, 33%, 20 to 30%? Okay, let's do a poll. I'd probably put maybe 11 to 16-ish. 36 plus. You guys actually think every third person's a Chinese player? Holy fuck. That is a wild, wild number to me. No way 1 on 3 is Chinese. Yeah, the number seems high to me, dude. Yeah, I don't know about that. Boy, you should have voted the other way. When's your interview dropping with Jonathan and Mark? As soon as they go live with their trailer release. Which is, I would assume the announcement of the announcement of the announcement that we're going to be getting. I would assume that announcement is in relation to the release date of when the trailer will be. I'm going to be playing trade this week, by the way, boys. My goal is to grind to like my first mirror in PoE 2. I'd like to try to get as as rich as we can, because I'm going to do a build for like every ascendancy. Basically is the idea, because we have the uncapped subathon, and who knows how long that's going to last. And so I'm just going to play. We're going to do, like, at the start of the video, we're going to play warrior, obviously, and it's going to have like a countdown of like how many ascendancies are there in the game, like 13, 14, whatever it is, right? So I'll just have like a counter, like counting them all. Build for every. Does that mean all classes are coming? Calm down now, sir. Wait, what the fuck has 6 charm slots? Wait, is this a thing? Wait, how's that even possible? I don't understand what I'm looking at. What's next on my gigantic list of shit? Okay, not getting Act 4 is out of the question. If there was an option, there would have been damage control done, and there's no way Darth Micro's interviews would have been allowed to raise expectations in us. What do you mean allowed to raise expectations in us? Allowed? Who the fuck's allowing me to do anything? We can basically set Act 4 as the bare minimum this patch will have, together with reworking, fixing, or balancing some of the weaker ascendancies with that skills and mechanics related to them. It might come at the cost of one new class, as already hinted GG is the possible cost of this rework, but we don't know how many classes and ascendancies they aim for this time. We also don't know how many acts they could put in this time, though Jonathan has pointed out to the likelihood of keeping the last for release. That leaves the option for having both Act 4 and 5. I thrust DM. Well, hopefully not. I mean, preferably not. When he claims this patch would be huge. Okay. Wait, hold on. The largest yet, which means it only has to be the biggest of the two. All right, boys, it's the biggest of the two. Let's get it right. I'm not putting expectations through the moon, and no thrusting of DM. To be that, it needs to stretch to quite a few hours. I don't like him putting stretch and thrust in the same like paragraph here. The disappointment I would see this time would be around the things to get done, the priorities made by GGG, and the general disappointment around PoE 2 not being the version of PoE that was hoped for. The last part is something we all individually eventually have to deal with. But that also seems to create some Reddit outrage. But I don't see the likelihood of disappointment. Okay, here, I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm gonna give you a leak right now, okay? This right here, Reddit outrage, this is confirmed going to happen. There will be Reddit outrage. Actually, you don't even need to know anything. You can just know there will be Reddit outrage no matter anything. You are our only source for news for now. I can't even be a source for news. I have to sit here and twiddle my thumbs while waiting. In DM, we thrust. Source for thrusting. Okay, this needs to not be a meme. Also, if anyone here is a developer for Diablo 4, your town's fucking sucking. I hate them. Dude, Diablo 4 taking shots out of nowhere, bro. You can't even read a Reddit comment about a different game without Diablo 4 bad. I mean, D4 bad, reset the clock, boys. I feel like I need to have a permanent timer on the stream no matter what we're doing that's just there counting down how long it's been since the last D4 bad that we ran into. Teaser just dropped. All right, here we go. Okay, PoE 1, Act 1, 2, 3, 4. What the f are we looking at? 1, 2. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. PoE 2, Act 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let me get this straight. This one counts as 1 act, but this one counts as 4 acts. This is some of the most cooked speculation. All right, guys, I'm going to leak it for you again. Whatever the f this isn't it. Where are the comments on this? Fucking Batman. I just started playing this game and I'm shocked how good the combat is. Okay, let's see. This is me coming off Diablo 4. There it is. Which I still really like the feel of, but I was utterly shocked to find how abilities combo into themselves and how abilities can gain the elemental properties of other skills or the environment. I love that I compare. Okay, so fast forward, this guy 12 months later, he's going to be like super fucking upset that he can't clear fast enough or something. This is like exactly how everyone feels when they're just starting the game, 100%. Give them a year, boys. Yep, the PoE 2 campaign boss is a vision of what the RPG genre is capable of. I mean, this is true. PoE 2 campaign bosses are pog. There was a take somewhere that I thought was absolutely cooked in which they were saying the PoE 2 bosses are literally the worst out of all campaign bosses. Some Twitch chatter said it, and I thought for sure I was getting debated because it's like how can you actually believe this? There's bosses in multiple ARPGs that you just stand and you literally don't do anything. You just stand in place and hit the button. Like maybe when you have a really good build and you're just one-shotting everything, like PoE 2 bosses don't seem that exciting, but like as a base format, classic rage baiting, I'm pretty sure it was rage bait. Count Junior was my goat. No news this time. I remove your head myself. What is the best campaign boss? Best campaign boss out of all of PoE 2. I mean, Geonor's up there. Geonor by far. I mean, Geonor's good, man. I don't know if is it the best? If I really think about it, I mean, if I really think about it, Geonor's pretty high up there. I think Viper's high up there also. I do like Viper. There's something about me that likes the simple slam of the monkey. Monkey, yeah. I'm going to give you guys one more leak. Are you ready? The monkey's getting looked at. You know how we were talking about what does the monkey do? And the answer is he does basically fucking nothing. I saw that they were looking to do something to the monkey. So maybe the monkey getting buff. Now, I'm not talking about monkey. I'm not talking about monkey in campaign. I'm talking about monkey from Warbringer. Like, you know the meme of like, what's the monkey do? Because he ran and just like did nothing. They already said they're doing a bunch of rebalancing and everything. So it's not really a big leak. But like monkeys, like there's definitely changes coming to monkey from what I heard anyway. Because this monkey was pretty sad, not gonna lie. There's a very mild teaser that holds you over while we're waiting on real teasers, okay? Monkey can perfect strike in 0.3. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's see. I think 0.3 needs a few things to make me excited. New class, weapons, ascendancies. Everyone's always going to say this. A significant amount of added content to the in-game affords us systems and activities to engage with has to be more than just refinement of the current system or new maps. Crafting changes such that loot progression feels more accessible, and this needs to be accompanied by systems that allow targeted farming. Okay, if you had to pick between crafting changes and additions coming to the game or a significant added in-game like bosses, etc. type of content, you can only pick one. Which of the two do you take? Crafting, crafting, in-game content. These are pretty 50-50. We're going to have to do a poll on this. Yeah, it's pretty neck and neck. Content all day, crafting over content is wild. Both. Now, I'm saying you have to pick one. You need to craft better items to be able to do in-game content. Did a video on exactly this topic, content, baby? Really? All right, Dead Rabbit. React Andy time. Let's see. Stallathon continues. Path of Exile 2, patch 0.3. What the game needs right now.
I will preface this by also saying that this opinion here is coming from someone who has been playing both the point 1 and point 2 league very extensively. I am playing and streaming this game basically as a job and have racked up almost 3,000 hours.
3,000 hours is wild, by the way.
Overall, I really want this game to cater both to the kind of player that I am, but also to the people who have way less time to play. That is why my first and only point of what PoE 2 needs for the upcoming point 3 patch is going to be pretty simple. Drumroll please, it's content. I know a lot of people are excited about new classes and ascendancies, want more uniques or more ways for crafting, for example, and I agree on those wholeheartedly, But I just think that those are, for now, just going to be band-aids for a much bigger wound.
So he's part of the 63%. By the way, just in the time it took me to positive 15 million damage with, was this lightning arrow?
The situation of abysmal player retention we had in the current 0.2 patch is, in my opinion, pretty easily summarized with two factors: the dominance of the Tangle Tongue Lightning Spear builds and the fact that there is just not enough to do in the endgame.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's true. The other part is like the Lightning Spear build is dominant, but it's also easy to build and get rolling. If the Lightning Spear build was dominant, but it's kind of like maybe like Trickster or something where you had to like farm gear with another build first, it would be a little bit longer of retention because people would like have it to build up for an expensive build, but it's a cheap and easy build to farm. You can even do it in SSF easily just by like Chance Orbing, the Tangle Tongue, etc. So you can become OP like pretty much off the rip with the build, and then you have nowhere to go but down if you make another build. So like I think like the end game of what Lightning Spear is being OP is like actually okay. Like I actually don't mind like having a build be like that strong. It's that strong for free. Yeah, you put on Tangle Tongue, you equip Lightning Spear, you play a Blood Mage, GG, it's over. I think half of it's Lightning Spear, half of it is like the economic value associated with how cheap and easy it is to build Lightning Spear. So there's, like I say, there's nowhere to go but down once you have the build, which you get basically for free.
As of now, there's just not enough to do in the endgame content at this stage to keep the majority of players engaged for multiple months.
Man, why can't Warriors have a build like that? Honestly, bro, he's making points in the video. I'm too distracted by being salty as a Warrior main. Like, point to me the build where I guess maybe Lightning Warp. Okay, I get, you know, I think of it as I say it, but like he's running around fast as fuck on the Roa, clearing everything from everywhere, one-shotting everything. Where's our Warrior build, dude? It's always the goddamn bow Andys and lightning people.
Here, from my perspective, is that we have an insanely amazing foundation of an ARPG game, which is just missing some meat on the bone.
W person, W video, W gamer, W life. This is the closest thing we have to like one of these fast.
Why would anyone need to be this strong? Well, this is why.
This is the closest thing we have.
4 big maces, even bigger muscles, and the power of a thunder god. Enter the Mjolnir Warp Titan. This Titan uses the latest in SLAM technology to warp around the map.
By the way, this is going to be the first build that I play. I'm 100% going to do it because I never got to play the build because it's a rare unique. I never got to drop an SSF. But this is going to be the first build. I'll probably open like Earth Shatter, Bone Shatter, whatever the dog shit warrior thing I have to play for the millionth time. But then we're going to build this.
At the iron heart of this build is Mjolnir, a powerful unique mace that grants Thunder God's wrath. This meta skill will cast all socketed lightning spells automatically when you hit enough enemies with melee attacks. Lightning Warp is a fantastic choice for this auto-casting setup.
By the way, I think this is a perfect example of why the passive tree is currently cooked. You know the passive tree is bad because he is currently actively taking placeholder damage nodes that are meant for the druid later that literally just say +% to attack damage. That is how you know the passive tree is currently bad, because someone is unironically taking placeholder percentage attack damage in an in-game build. There's not better options currently for the warrior. I think this is a perfect example. So passive tree is very high up on my list of things that I hope get, added in 0.3. What's next on my list here? Tried PoE 1 after 1,000 hours of PoE 2 while waiting for 0.3 patch in my personal hopes. After playing over 1,000 hours in PoE 2 and finally trying PoE 1, the difference is huge. It's not just PoE 1 is bigger because there's more content. The game feel very different. Yep, it does. PoE 2 interface is cleaner and more intuitive even in alpha. Tooltips and explanations are everywhere. Hover a keyword with Alt to instantly see what it does. What can be done for both PoE 1 and PoE 2? It'd be nice to see tooltips in PoE 1. Yeah, but I mean, the ship is sailed on this. There's so much shit they'd have to add. I guess they're starting to add in like some of it, and they're getting videos and stuff in there now. Combat feel. PoE 2 combat feel is more meaningful. Yo, he did it, boys. He said the meaningful meme. Positioning, timing, and skill combos till in-game matter. Now I see what GGG is talking about. Combat in PoE 2 is so much better. Here's my take on this. Combat in PoE 2 feels better, but builds in PoE 1 feel better. Like the actual fight in PoE 2 feels like a fight, but in PoE 1, builds feel like a build. Maybe it's kind of hard to like have that be a thing when builds kind of are the combat, but like also it makes sense to me. PoE 1 often boils down to hit and run or hold one button until the screen is empty. I mean, yeah, I guess so. PoE 1 let your spam movement tech endlessly. Dash, Quicksilver Flask, etc. While PoE 2 has longer cooldowns or lacking that movement tech at all, making movement choices more deliberate. I don't think it makes movement choices more deliberate. It actually makes them more mandatory because like the movement is less, so you'll have less options and your amount of movement speed is lower, so the angles that you have to take are like predetermined. Like you gotta run in a straight line away from stuff because your movement's lower and you have less dashes and shit. So it's like, I don't know if it's more deliberate. Like I don't really feel like I'm making a choice. I guess maybe if you're moving forward, you can draw more. Like in PoE 1, it's safer to move forward. Like if you're giving cover, you can just move forward and pass. In PoE 2, moving forward equals death, so I guess in that terms. But like, just because you can spam them in PoE 1 doesn't mean it feels more deliberate. I feel like the movement and things like, flame dashing, shield charging, etc., like that can be pretty important, particularly in boss fights. But I think I see what he's saying. My hope for PoE 2, more movement options, but with cooldowns to keep combat thoughtful. I feel like there's definitely some room to grow in the movement category. Okay, if you guys could just have Flame Dash as it is in PoE 1, just copy paste it over to PoE 2, you think it's good? Let's see how the populace feels about this first. No, yes, no, oh my god, yes. Frostblink Master Race, no. Then everyone uses it, no. PoE 2, drop omens for crafting. I like omens, they're just not very common. Frostblink would be good. I mean, they have blink, but like, how often are people doing the weapon swap blink tech? It's definitely not solved, in my opinion. One of my other issues is like optional, like Quicksilver type of tech means you have to do it all the time. I don't know if I necessarily like that type of shit either. I want more augments for dodging. Oh, that'd be interesting. Like choices to replace your dodge with something else for travel skills. Yeah, I could see that. PoE 2 should have one utility flask slot. I feel like if there's something you want from a utility flask, surely it would be better to get the thing that you want from the utility flask in other ways, such as like the passive tree or items elsewhere. I feel like the utility flasks are kind of there just to like solve an additional issue, but now you have to like button press again. And PoE 2 is kind of set in a way where they want you to do a lot of the button presses. I don't know if I like the concept of adding more button presses. Movement charm with mods, yeah, maybe something there, like something more automated. I don't know if I want to like have to like hit another flask. I like having dodge row alternatives spec'd on the passive tree. Yeah, I wouldn't hate that. Dodging is incredible. Allows you to take on bosses that will one-shot you and outskill the fight. I could see that argument. I wonder how much, though, like, with that side of things, like dodging itself allowing you to outskill a fight, do you feel like that at all takes away from defensive prowess? Where it's like a fight being designed around the concept of needing to dodge it as opposed to, like, you defensively build around it. I think dodge roll needs full iframes. I think that'd be kind of OP. Can't dodge roll slam attacks. Yeah, true, Ed. What you don't want to have happen is that they don't know what to do, and it's in the middle ground somewhere where they are dodges, but they don't feel good, and the defenses are bad. Yeah, true. I mean, if you're in the middle, stuck between each of them being bad, yeah, I agree with that. Okay, anyway, let's move on. Imagine WASD movement in PoE 1, so much better. Yeah, I mean, I think Path of Exile 2 has the best WASD out of any ARPG I've played. Like, I don't even think it's close, really. When they added WASD, that is what caused the first delay of PoE 2 because they like, this feels really good. We wanted to go back and modify all the skills to work around WASD. And I'm actually glad they did, and I think it was worth the delay because the WASD is actually just really well done. I didn't think I was going to like it because I had played so much PoE 1 with the clicking, but WASD feels very smooth and enjoyable to play and is actually like borderline flawless. It definitely feels better than any other ARPG's WASD, like bar none in my opinion. Especially for range, it feels so much better. Yeah, you play something like crossbow or what have you. In PoE 2, current 0.2 patch, getting strength, dex, int, or extra jewel sockets on the passive tree is much harder. Okay, I will mention this. Speaking of jewel sockets, I brought this up. Remember how we were talking about the jewel socket thing and I said I would ask? I kind of talked in some detail about this. And I can talk about this because this isn't spoilers, and I don't think this is happening in 0.3 or anything. But I kind of was like, hey, so I don't really understand, like, wow, jewel sockets got removed. They felt good. Cluster jewels felt pretty good, etc. Or not clusters, but timeless. And I guess the argument here was this. It's that the flat normal jewels are too easy to roll and are too strong. and they kind of become de facto power, which is true, but it didn't really sound like they were too opposed to the concept of like timeless being added back in another way where you could have these somewhere else. There's a lot of ideas surrounding it, just kind of like chit chat about it. Mark had some pretty good takeaways because like I was talking to him. I was like, so what's the idea with like the timeless jewels and this, like I said, those felt good to build and like they aren't too easy to roll because they take chaos, which is like some of the most valuable currencies, so they can be kind of expensive, but you're trying to get certain ones and yada yada. So I kind of had the argument there because I really feel like removing the jewel socket on the tree remove some of the excitement of the timeless jewels. So I did move that bit of feedback over to him. I don't know what will happen there and whether or not, the in conclusion of that will be in agreement with my opinion. But I think he was right about like the base jewels are actually like crazy good. Base jewels are very good, mostly because the passive tree is kind of bad. Yeah, that kind of got brought up too, which is like surely part of the problem then is like people just aren't speccing into like the passive tree. That actually got brought up multiple times, like the passive tree just not being good enough. In PoE 1, sometimes it's hard to change rare because it's 4 link, for example, and you have much better gear, but it's 3 link run colors. I don't know. This feels so bad compared to PoE 2 skill gems. Yeah, I like the linking system is kind of annoying to play around for the same reason. Like getting upgrades does feel harder in PoE 1 in terms of replacing them, but then I feel like you get more quantity and you have easier ways to get the gear, so it's like not as bad. I mean, there's like orbs of binding early, etc. You have vendor recipes. Like it's harder, but also not harder because of the accessibility to actually getting gear that is better, but links do feel worse. PoE 1 showers you with powerful low-level uniques, while PoE 2 uniques feel garbage. Examples, I found and used within the first 3 acts of my first playthrough in this build. Level 32 character, my blind random build feels stronger than most of the PoE 2 builds. Gloves that give random power, endurance, frenzy charges on kill. I had those on my Merc. Also, there's charges nodes in passive tree that are doing the same. It's so much easier to get charges in PoE 1, and the charges are better. No need to just do a combo, parry and jump, and then use something, or hit until low, then use this to get 1 charge. True. In PoE 1, even low-level uniques can make your build explode in power instantly in campaign. That is true, which is fun, but can trivialize combat. In PoE 2, uniques are more situational, so power spikes require more planning and synergy. I feel like trivializing combat is something that just happens in PoE 1 when you like do either a proper build or know how to get like a good weapon early. Like that can just, outside of like the gauntlet, like that can just happen all of the time. In PoE 2, uniques are more situational, so power spikes require more planning and synergy. Like this new infinite poison low-level unique spear. So it requires a ton of damage on rings, unique gloves, unique belt from the King of the Mist, 4 or 5 socket skill gems, and tons of spirit to do any damage with it. And I can only use spear skills. Yeah, this is kind of the crux of it too. It's just like some uniques might work with other builds if you could use them with other skills, but because like it's only spear skill, yeah, this is a very valid point. Low tier uniques should be a bit better in PoE 2. That's my hope for the 0.3 patch. Yeah, they need to do a sweep of the uniques. I mean, they did one of these earlier and they helped out a bit of them, but yeah, no, they're still underwhelming. Mechanics and economy. PoE 1 has tons of overlapping and outdated mechanics that feel redundant. Okay, so, I mean, yeah, but like... You kind of need this, though, because it's like the reality is maybe they have overlapping and redundant ones, but they're not really redundant because some guy out there is going to figure out like how to use one in a different way than none of the others can be done because of the additional scarabs, and that makes it where that mechanic specifically will have some giant loot explosion that none of the other ones can do. I mean, like the blight one comes to mind. I mean, I feel like it feels redundant if the end goal is like I'm just trying to get yellow items or something. Like I don't think they're as the more you get into the game, the less redundant they feel, is kind of how I feel about it. They all like somewhat solve something new. This is he hasn't played the game enough. I mean, you can tell this from me because I've played, like 1,500, 2,000 hours, whatever it may be at this point in PoE 1. And like, I'm still discovering mechanics that apply other things, or people will talk in the chat all the time backseating me, be like, hey, if you go to this mechanic, you can get this result that you're missing currently. So like, I feel like this is just a knowledge issue. Variety and volume of currency in PoE 1 is so overwhelming compared to PoE 2 systems. That's true. I'm 50-50 on this. I'm kind of 50-50 on a lot of these. Like, I want to say like, I kind of like it because there's a solution for everything, but there's just too many currencies. The reality is there's just too fucking many. There's a million of them. You have to pick up all of them. You have to figure out this currency does something. I guess that gives you depth of crafting, but it's just an insane amount. It's just an absolutely insane amount, and you need a million tabs and all this shit. Yeah. PoE 2 needs some currency sync to avoid 2,500 exalts to one div situation for longer. Okay, the reality of this one for me is like exalts are not as important as people think they are. The only reason people care about exalts is because they think it's the primary currency, and really it's not going to be. Like, I guarantee you swap to chaos at some point, because exalts are effectively transmutes or alteration orbs. That's their valuation in PoE 2. Exalts are just worthless spam items. Maybe you want them to be not worthless spam items, but that is what they are. And if you think about what they actually do, they just add a stat line. It's already chaos. Yeah. And the chaos, if you look at it now, I think we can look at it in game here in a moment. I'll launch it and we'll see it. But like the chaos to div ratio is actually not that insane. Okay, you do need some sinks. I'm not going to argue with him. He does need sinks there. But the valuation of people being like really worried about the exalt to divine ratio in particular, never bringing up like the chaos to divine ratio is a little bit annoying for me. Weren't exalts originally more of a default currency early in PoE 1 too? Yeah, and then the exalts weren't default. I think that they were the equivalent of divines, and then they swapped to divines. But like in the same way that like the currency valuation will swap between the leagues and what people are using for trade will just swap with how common something is. Like this is just going to happen as well. This is why runes make no sense to me. That's hundreds of separate currency items when they already know it'll become a problem. I do agree with it there. I like the socket system, but I do agree there is something pretty annoying about runes. I almost wonder if it'd be better to have it where you just like craft the rune you want, where it drops you know how they have blank runes from the campaign quest reward? Many tier 0 uniques in PoE 2 cost nothing right now. Yeah, this is true. I think this is more like, I think this is probably more of a symptom of a lot of them just like not being that good. Need more tier 0s and more of them actually doing something. And you need build enabling ones. Like a good example of one that here, let's look at. So there's an example of like, this one seems like a proper good unique that people actually want, has value associated with it, even late into the league. Hello, and that is rare. This is a good example of one. This one makes it where you have like the chaos popping damage. Actually does something cool. It's fun to play. Has good valuation associated with the item. Like you need a reason to continue playing the game to try to get something that most people don't have. This is the reason like party hats were, you know, so interesting for people to acquire in RuneScape. They held value because of the rarity associated with them, sure, but it was also a symbol of like, I have something that other people don't. I think that's fine. Okay, where were we here? PoE 2 feels tighter and more deliberate in almost every aspect, while PoE 1 gives you absurd amounts of power and flexibility very early on. Both approaches have their charm. PoE's 1 chaos is fun, but PoE's 2 pacing makes each decision feel more impactful for me. I feel like some of this is just because he knows PoE 2 more. PoE 1's like not really chaos. In fact, it's the non-chaos part of it that people keep asking for, like the deterministic side of it. Like in PoE 1, I know I'm going to have a weapon. You know why? Because in PoE 1, I can just vendor recipe a weapon. It's like the opposite, actually. Like PoE 2 is actually chaos because it's like RNG for fucking everything. PoE 1 is just like you craft the shit. You're going to have pretty close to the same thing every time you go through. Unless you get like something a little bit more exciting maybe, but like I feel like this is literally backwards. My hopes for PoE 2 0.3 patch. All right, here we go, boys. Let the speculation begin. Bring back more build varieties. Stats. Okay, so this one is like confirmed. They already said like they've already said this in the talkative interview that like they are focusing on this hard. Stat stacking, Temporalis, Spark Mage, Minions. Right now in 0.2, the meta feels narrow and a lot of iconic 0.1 archetypes are dead. That impacts the economy because everyone's chasing the same items. Rework or buff Pinnacle, Delirium, or other encounters, uniques. Drops from Arbiter, Trial Master, Oroth, Delirium encounters should all feel... No, I agree. I mean, Savalin's pretty good. I feel like the Sacred Flame from Arbiter is pretty dope, but like I don't like what they did with the chest plate, dude. I didn't actually ever feel that the chest plate was OP from Arbiter. What was OP was the stat stacking build, and it got fucking triple tapped. I mean, they nerfed the Pillar of the Cage God, the Hands of Wisdom in action, and the Arbiter chest plate, and the Mercenaries Gymline. Like, they nerfed all of it. They took that shit behind the barn and executed its ass. I really don't feel like the Arbiter chest piece before was... Maybe I'm, like, wildly out of touch here, but, like, I never really felt like when I got the Arbiter chest plate, suddenly I was a god. In fact, very rarely did I actually equip it, even with good stats, and I still had to valid into 5 socket to really want to use it. So I kind of feel like the Arbiter nerf to the chest plate was, like, pretty much a giant L. Trial Master, yeah, Trial Master is basically I always get... The helmet's cool, but I always get the helmet and it becomes a rare in, like, 3 seconds. Oroth actually is arguably the one that feels maybe the best. I mean, before it was kind of the king because you're chasing the belt, but like Oroth has Savalim, which is pretty good. The one-handed mace is kind of cool. I don't know how like amazing it is, but it's kind of cool. You get with the flask. I think Oroth has a couple like these. He's maybe arguably the one that has like the most things in it, right? Delirium mechanics should all feel meaningful, but I agree with the sentiment. If it's a pinnacle boss unique, it should always be worth building around. Yeah, okay. I mean, I guess, I don't know about always worth, because worth is like a subjective term typically based around the economic value of the build, but I should say it should always be able to be built around, hopefully. But I'm kind of being picky about his terminology here. But like, I get what he's saying. It's kind of bad design when boss always drops unique, but it's trash. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no argument. Bosses shouldn't drop completely worthless items. Yeah, no, no argument for me. Unnerf iconic items like Hoa, Pillar of the Cage God, and Temporalis were nerfed too much in 0.2. Is there really an issue with the auto bomber? But like, how did you guys feel about the Temporalis auto bomber? I never got to play it, so I don't have like first-hand experience. I thought it was, every time I watched, I think it was Jung playing or something. I thought it was really cool. Nerf Lightning Spear and buff other gems, but don't over nerf it. Don't make it unplayable like everything was in 0.2. The issue with over nerfing is it becomes like the stat stacker thing where they just remove that build entirely instead of, they kind of do the overcooked nerf. Yeah. As I said before, more dual sockets on passive tree. I actually completely agree with this one. Some rework of passive tree cause a lot of nodes are just garbage. Yep. This is a pretty heavy hitting one. I agree. Better evasion, armor, HP, mana defense, because energy shields are so much better than everything else. So apparently, if you actually look at the math, from what I hear, armor HP builds, a well-built warrior is actually tankier on the max hit side of things than a well-built energy shield character. This is apparently the truth of it, by the way. That's what I was told. So like you put the best warrior versus the best energy shield, in terms of like a well-built, okay, the best is wrong because like there's the whole like strength in the ghost right thing. But like currently a well-built warrior will beat out a well-built energy shield build. These are all pretty much like, I would say 99% of people are asking for literally all of these. This was a pretty good post though. Pretty decent breakdown. A lot of this is like pretty obvious. He just hasn't played PoE 1 enough, but like he did a pretty solid breakdown, honestly. It's not bad. All right. We haven't got the announcement to the announcement yet. All right, but we'll be back in the morning. The stallathon continues. We'll be back on bright and early as is tradition. So I'll see you like 9 a.m. PST or so. August 29th is the uncapped PoE 2 subathon for the new league. I almost said Dawn of the Hunt, but for 0.3, subathon starts August 29th. See you in 15 days for that. And hopefully our announcement is tomorrow. We'll go over whatever is there in the morning. You can try to squeeze more spoilers out of me. That's about it. Love y'all. And have a good day.